capitalism, religion.
We're not props, we're just everyday people.
The crowd, the joy, a sense of hope.
Start.
Listen to the next Morning Edition from NPR News.
Join us for Morning Edition weekday mornings from 4 to 9 a.m. right here on KPBS 89.5 FM San Diego, where news matters.
This is KPBS Midday Edition. I'm Maureen Cavanaugh. When do you buy a lottery ticket? When you're feeling lucky? When you want to make big changes in your life? When you just want to take a chance? Or maybe you never play the lottery because chances are you've got almost no chance of winning. The California Lottery pulls in about $5 billion worth of sales annually, so there are apparently lots of people who buy lottery tickets. But who are they and why do they do it? An iNewsSource investigation looked at those questions here in San Diego and came up with some unlikely winning answers. Joining me are Joe Girardi. He is investigative reporter and data specialist with iNewsSource. And welcome, Joe.
Hey, how you doing, Maureen?
Pretty good, thank you. And Nicholas Christenfeld is professor of psychology at San Diego, at the University of California, San Diego. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, Joe, who is the average lottery player in California?
So the lottery actually conducted a survey, or rather hired a firm to conduct a survey of their players. And it actually might surprise you. We've sort of got this typical idea of the lottery players, maybe someone who's down on their luck, really desperate, poor. But in California, at least, the majority of lottery players were employed full-time, earned between, with most of them earning between $50,000 and $75,000 a year.
And so you did a breakdown of where the lottery sales are coming from in San Diego County. So what is that breakdown?
Yeah, so we found sort of a similar thing when we matched up census data with lottery sales by store. I wanted to look at the income level of all the zip codes in San Diego County and then tally up the total lottery sales in each of them. And as it turned out, about 3/4 of all the lottery sales in San Diego County came from middle class and moderate income neighborhoods. Only about 1% were from the poorest neighborhoods.
That sort of flies in the face, as you were saying, of the national statistics about who plays the lottery. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. There have been lots of studies looking at different states, different cities, as well as nationally, so trying to tease out who does play the lottery. And in a lot of places, it does seem to be sort of the lower income, less wealthy folks who tend to play the most, the lottery the most. And that's why it's been criticized in a lot of places as a tax on the poor, both because in absolute numbers, certain studies have found that folks who make the least play the lottery the most, as well as just the fact that proportionally, even if someone who makes $25,000 a year spends, let's say, $1,000 a year on lottery tickets, and then someone who makes $100,000 a year spends $1,000 on lottery tickets, sure, they both spent the same amount, but proportionally, the person who made $25,000 a year spent a lot more than the one who made $100,000 a year.
But when it comes to the breakdown that you were talking about, that and in many other ways, California apparently is a little bit different than what they're finding nationally. So give us a little background, if you would, about the California Lottery. It's been around for about 30 years now, and I think we're all familiar with the term, our schools win too. Is this a significant source of funding for our schools in California?
Right, well, the ballot measure in 1984 that brought the lottery into existence was sold as a revenue source for public education. And it's always been justified up to now using that rationale that ultimately a lot of this money goes back to public schools. Last year, the lottery brought in about $5 billion in sales, and they returned a little under $1.4 billion of that to public schools. Most of the rest went to things like prize winnings, commissions to stores that sell lotteries, as well as staff and overhead of the actual lottery. I spoke with the chief financial officer of the San Diego Unified School District. They got about $17.5 million from the lottery last year, and that might sound like a lot of money, but in fact, she pointed out they've got a $1 billion plus budget, so that $17.5 million only counts for a little less than 2% of that budget.
So, as you were saying, there's overhead involved in the lottery. How much does the state actually get approximately each year after you deduct winnings and all the other amounts of money that you have to pay out?
Well, everything that the lottery doesn't spend on prize money or commissions to sales or staff overhead, they have to return to schools. So that was about $1.35 billion there. They're legally obligated.
It doesn't go anywhere else in the state. It just goes to the schools.
That's right. It can't go to the state's general fund. It has to go specifically to contributions to public education.
Now, back to the people who play the lottery. How many lottery games, including scratchers, are available in California now?
So we've got about 3 dozen different kinds of scratchers, and I believe 6 or 7 other types of